So let's start today with news of a life-saving government rule change for GPs. And it's all down to mother Andrea Brady, who was on the show earlier on this year. I'm sure you remember Andrea's daughter Jess died of stage 4 cancer. She was only 27 after her condition had been missed by doctors 20 times. Well, today, Andrea joins us with Health Secretary Wes Streeting to announce Jess's rule, where patients now have the right to a second opinion after 3 appointments. Andrea, you have fought so long and so hard for this. How are you feeling this morning?
I think mostly, just as always, huge love for my Jess.
Of course.
Who was absolutely the driving force and the inspiration behind this, and huge relief. And I just feel that this is for Jess and for all the countless other young people that we've heard their stories since we lost Jess in December of 2020.
So 20 times she went to the doctors with various symptoms, getting worse and worse every time, and it was misdiagnosed or her cancer was missed completely.
That's right, yes. It was over the 5 months that Jess contacted her GP practice, her symptoms were increasingly escalating and she was developing sort of weight loss, she had night sweats, vomiting. But I think all patients, when they go to their GP practice, really want to be reassured. And when somebody is saying to you, no, actually, it's okay, you're fine, you feel relieved for a while. But then Jess knew that things weren't right. She knew that she knew her own body.
Yeah, she looked after herself. She was a very fit girl. You know,
Yeah,
she was very healthy until this happened.
She was very proactive and organised, and yeah, she really wanted to look after herself. But it was increasingly difficult to advocate for herself as she became more and more poorly. It was really tough for her.
And you're seeing that happening, and eventually you went to a private doctor who knew right away almost what was wrong.
Yes. Jess's dad, Simon, spoke to that consultant after we lost Jess, and she said that she knew almost instantly that there was something seriously wrong with Jess and referred her for a biopsy of her lymph nodes.
And she died not long after that, didn't she? What was it about?
Yes, it was. Jess was admitted into hospital straight from outpatients, and she stayed in the same room for just over 3 weeks.
Oh, jeez. And
devastatingly, she died just before Christmas in 2020.
Andrea. So tough. And yet you took all of that grief and you poured it into making sure this wouldn't happen to anybody else. And now here we are. It's been a long, hard fight, as I've said, but here we are and you've done it for your daughter. And Wes, what difference is this going to make, do you think?
I think it's going to make a massive difference. And thanks to Andrea and Simon and their campaigning, in my job, some of the hardest meetings I have are with people who are victims of the NHS. And it sounds like such a strange thing to talk about, the victims of the NHS. The NHS is meant to be there for all of us when we need it. But things do go wrong and there are victims of the NHS. And I can't honestly say, Andrea, if I were in your shoes, that I would have had it in me to kind of do what you guys have done.
Oh, it's remarkable. Absolutely remarkable.
And thanks to you, this rule, which is named in Jess's honour, not least because it will remind GPs and staff in the NHS of what happens if we don't rethink, if we don't interrogate, if we don't investigate. You know, Jess's story will be a powerful reminder to staff right across the NHS that, you know, if someone's going without a diagnosis and if someone's going with worsening symptoms, we've got to investigate. So the way it will work in practice is effectively after 3 strikes, 3 appointments, if a patient doesn't have a diagnosis, if their conditions, their symptoms are worsening, then they can get a second opinion, they can get further diagnostic tests and scans. It might be, because sometimes things are hard to diagnose, that you're then put on sort of regular checkups. In fact, just on the way in here this morning, I bumped into Hilary Jones, obviously very well known, as a doctor, and he said one of the things that's really missing in the NHS often is what doctors call continuity of care. We would call the family-doctor relationship.
Absolutely.
And so if you're going back and seeing the same doctor again and again, you know, they will remember, they will be able to interrogate further. So I think this will save lives. I really do think it will save lives.
Oh, it will. I think you're absolutely right. And Jess, I mean, I remember when we talked when you were in before, and I just wish I had met her because she drove the Mars rover. From here, obviously. One day we will drive it on Mars. One day. We have to call the first one Jess. But she was something, your daughter. Wow. I mean, she really was, wasn't she?
Yeah, she really was. And I've been telling people this week also, as a tribute to Jess, that it was by her boss, they arranged for the last satellite that Jess worked on to be dedicated to her.
Wow.
And they were going to tell her on the Monday, and devastatingly, she died on the Saturday. But Jess would have been so deeply touched, but it was actually launched from Cape Canaveral.
Wow.
And coincidentally, it was on the day of her funeral. So
jeez.
It really was a beautiful tribute.
And they put a message on it, didn't they?
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess. So that's up there just now.
It is up there now.
Floating round with a message for your daughter on it.
Yeah, which is so beautiful.
It's incredible. And then you've done this amazing thing.
So Jess, but driven by Jess, by her dignity and her courage, and all because of her.
Oh, it's amazing, and lives will be saved. I mean, I hope that's of some comfort to you.
I do believe that. I do believe that. And I just hope that this is not for... I know Wes will agree with this. This is not just for today. It's not for the launch today. This is moving forward forever. And we hope that all GP consulting rooms will have a poster of Jess's rule.
Yes.
Our charity, Jessica Brady Cedar Trust, are funding the publication and distribution of that poster.
Exactly, and also, it is. So it just reminds people of the human cost, doesn't it? It just reminds people of why this is so important, and also maybe gives people the confidence, because sometimes I certainly know with my mother's generation, you don't bother the doctor. You know, she would be one of these people that would kind of be fobbed off. That you have the confidence to do that because this law, this rule, allows you to do that. It's fantastic. It really is. You should be so proud of yourself for all that you've achieved. It's amazing.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Gosh, never underestimate mothers. What a formidable force, honestly, and all for Jess. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Wes, just before you go, I hope you don't mind, there's been an awful lot of concern over remarks that Donald Trump made about the link between pregnant women taking paracetamol. And it's really, we've had so many calls from folk, they're frightened, they're scared. Pregnant women are saying, what's going to happen? You know, they're worried. What's the NHS advice?
I've just got to be really clear about this. There is no evidence to link the use of paracetamol by pregnant women to autism in their children. None. In fact, a major study was done back in 2024 in Sweden involving 2.4 million children, and it did not uphold those claims. So I would just say to people watching, don't pay any attention whatsoever to what Donald Trump says about medicines. In fact, don't even take my word for it as a politician.
Okay.
Listen to British doctors, British scientists, the NHS. It's really important that at a time when, you know, there is scepticism, and I don't think scepticism itself, asking questions, is in itself a bad thing. By all means, ask questions. But we've got to follow medical science. We've got to follow the evidence. And I think it's so important that people do that, especially at a time as well when you've got kids in this country now dying of measles, whooping cough, kids not taking the RSV vaccine when those respiratory diseases can be life-threatening in our children. So I just say to people watching, trust your doctor, trust medical science, and when making decisions about your own family or your own care, just ask yourself, would you really want to see someone you love dying with measles, whooping cough? These are things that I thought we'd consign to the history books. And science can consign it to the history books if we trust medical science. And I trust doctors over President Trump, frankly, on this.
Thank you very much for that. Thank you. And Andrew, thank you It's great to see you again. Really, really good to see you again. You're an amazing woman. Thank you. Well, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel. And if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.